Every year, millions of people tune in to watch celebrities strut down the red carpet, give emotional speeches, and take home prestigious trophies. But behind the glitz and glam, there is a huge issue: the lack of diversity in award shows. Whether it's the Oscars, the Grammys, or the Golden Globes, these ceremonies have a long history of overlooking Black artists, women, and other underrepresented groups. And when they do hand out awards, it often feels more like damage control than real progress. If you've ever scrolled through social media during an award show, you've probably seen outrage over who won, and more importantly, who didn't. The Oscars, for example, have been accused of being overwhelmingly white, especially in major categories. The hashtag OscarsSoWhite exploded in 2015 after all 20 acting nominations went to white actors for the second year in a row. And this wasn't a one-time thing. A 2022 UCLA study found that only 6% of Oscar nominees between 2008 and 2022 were Black, even though Black people make up nearly 14% of the U.S. population. Let that sink in. It wasn't until 2002 that Halle Berry became the first, and still the only, Black woman to win Best Actress. 2 decades later, that statistic has not changed. The Grammys aren't much better. Despite Black artists being the driving force behind nearly every major music genre, only 10 Black musicians have won Album of the Year in the Grammys' 66-year history. Worse, no Black woman has even won Producer of the Year. Think about that. Black women who have shaped the sound of music for decades have never been recognized for their work behind the scenes. Even Beyoncé, the most awarded artist in Grammy history, has never won Album of the Year. How does that happen? In 2021, The Weeknd was completely shut out of the Grammys despite having one of the biggest hits of the decade, Blinding Lights. He later called the Grammys corrupt and demanded more transparency. And he had a point. The Recording Academy used secret committees to decide nominations, making it easier for artists to get stubbed without explanation. The Golden Globes have had their own scandals. For years, their voting body, the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, was a small, exclusive group of mostly older white men. In 2021, it was revealed that out of 87 members, not one was Black. Let's be real. If people in charge of deciding who wins don't reflect the diversity of the industry, how can we expect fair results? Even though the HFPA has since expanded its membership, the impact has been slow. The same types of movies keep winning, while films by and about people of color struggle for recognition. Award shows also have a habit of putting Black artists into a box. Tyler, the Creator, called this out in 2020 when he won Best Rap Album for Igor. He pointed out that whenever Black artists make genre-bending music, the Grammys tend to shove them into rap or urban categories, even when the music doesn't fit.
But also, it sucks that whenever we, and I mean guys that look like me, do anything that's genre-bending or that's anything, they always put it in a rap or urban category, which is, and I don't like that urban word. It's just a politically correct way to say the N-word to me.
His frustration is valid, and it highlights how even when Black artists do win, they're often placed in categories that limit their artistic range and reinforce racial stereotypes. And let's talk about gender. Women, especially women of color, face an even steeper uphill battle. At the Oscars, only 3 women have ever won Best Director: Kathryn Bigelow in 2012, Chloe Zhao in 2021, and Jane Campion in 2022. Meanwhile, male directors are nominated and win almost every year, reinforcing the idea that directing is still seen as a man's job. Similarly, in the Grammys, female artists often dominate pop charts but struggle to receive the same recognition as their male counterparts. In 2018, Recording Academy President Neil Portnow said that women need to step up as if they wanted to win more Grammys, because of course the problem is that women just aren't trying hard enough, right? This issue isn't just about entertainment, it reflects an even bigger pattern in society. The lack of diversity in award shows mirrors the struggles that people of color face in workplaces, education, and leadership roles. A report from the USC Race and Equity Center found that industries with little diversity in leadership tend to undervalue the contributions of people of color. When award shows exclude or undervalue artists of color, it sends a message that their work is secondary, and representation matters. Seeing someone who looks like you win an Oscar or a Grammy isn't just about prestige, it's about proving that your stories, your music, and your art are worthy of recognition. Some people argue that award shows have made progress, pointing to recent wins by Black artists and filmmakers, but one win doesn't erase decades of exclusion. This is what's known as a token win. Sometimes a Black artist or filmmaker will win a major award and people will act like the problem is solved. But let's just be honest, just because Parasite won Best Picture or Black Panther got nominated doesn't mean Hollywood is suddenly fair and unbiased. These moments should be celebrated, but they shouldn't be treated as a finish line. A big part of the problem is the structural biases that are already built into these organizations. Many voters in the Academy and Recording Academy are industry veterans who have been part of the system for decades, reinforcing outdated perspectives. Because many of these members are older and less diverse, they may unintentionally overlook work that might challenge the status quo or represents voices outside their own experiences. Without diverse representation in voting bodies, true change remains out of reach. Expanding these organizations to include younger, more diverse members is an important step in breaking the cycle of exclusion. Another often overlooked issue is how media coverage and marketing play into award show biases. Studies show that films and albums by artists of color receive less promotional funding, making it harder for them to gain traction with voters. Public perception plays a significant role in what gets nominated and ultimately wins. If the media and entertainment industry fail to push diverse works to the forefront, they are less likely to be celebrated. Addressing these disparities in visibility and marketing can help to level the playing field. Different perspectives exist on this issue, and some argue that the push for diversity in award shows has become performative or even unnecessary. Critics of diversity initiatives claim that awards should be based purely on merit and not representation quotas. They argue that the best work should win regardless of race or gender, and while this sounds fair in theory, it ignores a long history of bias in the entertainment industry. Others believe that artists of color should focus on creating their own institutions rather than seeking validation from historically exclusive ones. The NAACP Image Awards and BET Awards, for example, were founded to celebrate Black excellence in entertainment, offering an alternative to mainstream institutions that have failed to recognize diverse talent. However, these award shows don't receive nearly the same level of attention or prestige, leading some to argue that real change must come from within the existing systems. So what's the solution? First, award shows need more transparency. The Recording Academy, the HFPA, and the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences must make their voting processes public and ensure that diverse voices are included in decision-making. Second, there needs to be a real effort to recognize talent from all backgrounds, not just when it's trendy, but when it's deserved. And third, fans and artists need to keep applying pressure. Public outcry has led to change before. After the hashtag #OscarsSoWhite, the Academy invited over 800 new members from underrepresented backgrounds. If people demand better representation, real progress might finally happen. At the end of the day, award shows are just one piece of a bigger puzzle, but they hold a huge cultural influence and they shape how we define greatness. If institutions like the Oscars and Grammys truly want to evolve, they need to do more than just check a diversity box. They need to actually embrace inclusion in a meaningful way. Otherwise, the illusion of inclusion will continue and artists of color will keep getting sidelined in an industry that claims to celebrate creativity and innovation. History has shown that change doesn't happen when people stay quiet. Fans, artists, and activists need to keep speaking up. Boycotting, calling out snubs on social media, and supporting award shows that actually value diversity can make a difference. While institutions like the Oscars and Grammys are allowed to evolve, public pressure has forced change before. After all, #OscarsSoWhite forced the Academy to expand its membership. If enough people demand better representation, real change might finally happen, and honestly, it's about time.